Welcome to this episode of the Conscious Pod. Today we're joined by Law Firm Marketing Club Community Manager Sophia Stancer, who will be discussing the latest findings from the What Clients Want survey. In its fifth year, this research has become the leading study of its type in the UK legal sector and is an invaluable tool for law firms to understand what clients look for when choosing a law firm, their experiences and expectations, and the key issues that matter to them.
I'm delighted to be joined by two of my fantastic colleagues for this episode of the Conscious Pod. Firstly, social media manager Laura Morris, who will be the new Conscious Pod host going forward. Hi, Laura.
Hi, everyone.
We're also joined by the lovely Sophia Stancer, Law Firm Marketing Club Community Manager. Sophia and Claire from LFMC have been working hard this year to pull together data, research, and insights for their What Clients Want report. Sophia has shared some of the stats with us, and they are very insightful, so she's joining us to share some of these with you too. Sophia, thanks for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit more about what you do and what the Law Firm Marketing Club does?
Hi, Maddie, and thank you for that lovely introduction. So, hi, listeners, I'm Sophia Stancer, and I am the community manager of the Law Firm Marketing Club. So, I wear a couple of professional hats as well as lots of actual hats. If you've ever met me, this is very much a thing. But I run the club, which is a membership organisation that supports law firms to do better marketing via a very packed out programme. So we do events, webinars, training sessions, networking, collaboration meetings, as well as delivering research and resources for our members. And then secondly, I obviously work with both of you at Conscious as a plug-in marketing specialist for firms needing interim support. And I provide training and coaching on marketing to in-house teams and lawyers, specifically on brand building, whether that's personal branding or employer branding. So lots of variety, which makes for a very fun and interesting job.
Yeah, it sounds really interesting. Can you tell us a bit more about the research you've just conducted with the Law Firm Marketing Club?
Absolutely, I can. So this year we started in August and we've launched it in December, and we conducted our What Clients Want research with over 600 potential legal clients to really get inside their minds and understand what they expect from their chosen law firms. The goal was to provide law firms with deeper insights into how clients choose a firm, their experiences, and then the other key factors that influence their decisions. This year, we actually expanded our focus to explore some new areas like client onboarding process, and then why clients might choose different firms for different legal needs. So it's about looking at the whole journey from start to finish. And to make the findings even more valuable, in my opinion, we've broken things down this year by age, client type, and previous experience with law firms, which gave us a much more nuanced picture. But as always, we've taken the data and turned it into actionable steps for law firms so they can align with their clients' needs, grow their firms, and stay ahead of the competition. And Claire and I have written lots of supporting commentary to inspire some ideas. But the key takeaway from this research is that listening to clients and responding to their feedback is really critical. It's not just about meeting their expectations, but about exceeding them. And by doing that, firms can create opportunities for innovation and diversification. So the research serves as a roadmap for success in the legal sector. And we were thrilled this year to work with Anna Lake of Anna Lake Insights to present these findings. The questions we focused on in the 2024 research were usage of law firms, experience with the most recent legal matter, choosing a law firm, dealing with that law firm, feedback, and value and experience. So we've really tried to cover the entire client experience, and I think it's going to provide a lot of value for any law firm looking to improve on how they serve their clients.
Yeah, that sounds like a mammoth piece of work and some really valuable insights for law firms. So just going back a little bit, you asked respondents to share their experience with the onboarding process once they had instructed a law firm. So what did that reveal?
So the research showed that first impressions matter a lot, and the numbers tell a really interesting story. 83% of clients found the fee agreement and engagement letter clear, which is a B+ for effort. However, only 77% felt the overall onboarding process hit the mark, which you could argue is still decent-ish, but is actually not, because it means that 23 in every 100 of your clients are not finding the onboarding experience very or reasonably clear. And there were two areas which need significant improvement. So one, communication. Who do you call when you've got a question? That wasn't being made particularly clear. And the second was an overload of jargon. And the research has showed that clients just crave clarity, especially in the infancy stages. So they want clear timelines, concise welcome documents, and an easy way to reach someone, and preferably not a generic email that feels like they're kind of shouting into the abyss. And this can really make or break the all-important first impression.
Yeah, I think that's really important, as you know, as somebody who has probably never used a law firm before in their life. It's important to really understand who you're going to be speaking to and cutting through all that jargon that the average person is just not going to know what that means. So what do clients expect to see when they check out a lawyer or a law firm online? And what are the key factors that influence their initial impression?
So this part of the research, it covers several factors. So I'm going to pick out a couple of key things to touch on, but I would encourage anyone listening to get in touch with me for the summary report. So when clients are searching for a lawyer or law firm online, there are a few key elements that they absolutely expect to see, and they want to see it right away. So the most important factors influencing their initial impressions included a description of the services, with 89% of respondents saying that that was very important. Contact details, with 87% saying that was very important. And of course, price, because naturally they want to know what it's going to cost them to instruct their chosen lawyer. And these are absolute non-negotiables. Clients want to quickly understand what a firm offers, how to get in touch, and how much the services will cost. And I mean, for a lot of firms, providing clear price information isn't a preference. It's actually mandatory for some practice areas. So despite firms seeing themselves possibly as traditional high street practices, walk-in traffic is rarer these days, as we know, and a strong online presence has become all the more crucial. So if you haven't embraced the full potential of your website, I would be doing the team at Conscious a big disservice by not saying this, but have a word with a marketing agency, maybe an orange one, that can help you with your website and optimizing some of these areas.
Thanks for the little plug there.
Yeah,
I think price, something that I've come across with social media as well, as people are always interested in the fees, because why wouldn't you be, especially with the cost of living? So yeah, I think that's really interesting to hear that. So how important is a law firm's approach to sustainability in the eyes of clients?
So this is a really mixed bag, and I'll give you some of the highlights. So as well as asking for the quantitative answers through the responses, we also gave respondents the chance to provide commentary, and they said some interesting things on this topic. So when clients say things like, I want a lawyer who is good at what they do and sustainability is an added bonus, it becomes quite clear that while sustainable or ethical considerations matter, practical factors like expertise, cost, and reliability are often, more important in the first instance. Law firms need to realize that more clients, particularly business clients, are becoming aware of their environmental impact and ethical practices. And these factors are often now part of a tendering process. So these issues as it stands may not be deal breakers, but firms that adopt sustainable practices and communicate their commitment to social responsibility and sustainable practices, they can really stand out and attract more clients. So 17% of clients don't care about climate change or sustainability in choosing a law firm, possibly because they don't believe in it. That's a real possibility. But those who do see it as a crucial factor in their decision making, they want to see firms making responsible efforts. So on balance, I think it's fair to say that this stuff matters, and it matters even more to those of a younger generation, which is evident in the second half of our report.
Yeah, I think it's really interesting to hear their response on that, because it's a nice thing to have, but like you say, people are more interested in the practical side of things, like, do they have the expertise that I need, and am I able to afford those services? But on the flip side of that, businesses are beginning to think more about sustainability and the type of suppliers that they work with. And so it is something that law firms should be thinking about now, in anticipation for the future when this will be at the forefront of everybody's minds, businesses and individuals alike. So this year you introduced a new question in your survey, which is, in choosing your law firm, how important is a law firm's approach to diversity and inclusion? So I'd be interested to know what the responses were to that and what do they tell us about current client priorities?
So this was a really, really interesting question. And when we got the data responses through, I was actually quite shocked at the results. So 22% of clients considered diversity and inclusion very important, and 13% found it not important at all, according to the responses, which I personally find rather concerning.
Yeah.
Because 13%, it's not a massive percentage, but it's also not a small one or an insignificant one. So some respondents focus purely on qualifications, saying things like, as long as they're qualified, it doesn't really matter, or everyone is equal. It's about how they interact with others. A few emphasize social skills over diversity, saying, as long as they know their job and have acceptable social skills, I don't care what sex, creed, or colour they are.
Mm-hmm.
Opposite end of the spectrum, another respondent said it's not important because they are there to serve at the end of the day. So a real mixed bag, which illustrates the varied importance placed on diversity within the legal sector from a client perspective. But it underscores a really critical point that there is still significant work to be done to ensure clients actually recognise the value that diversity and inclusion brings with it. So let's start with the obvious. Championing diversity in a law firm or anywhere is not about box ticking. Mm-hmm. It's reflecting the world we live in. And diverse teams offer invaluable perspectives, which are essential in providing the best legal advice. Firms that actively foster diversity are more likely to understand their clients' unique challenges and needs, and therefore offer more tailored and nuanced solutions. And I'd like to think that clients want firms that not only represent them, but also understand them, whether it be from a cultural, gender, or socioeconomic perspective. When you work with a diverse team, you're more likely to see all angles of a problem, which can result in better strategies and outcomes. And it's about being represented by somebody that understands your specific experiences and issues aligned with the legal matter in question.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And I think there's definitely still some work to be done there in terms of improving diversity and inclusion at law firms, and also, changing client perspectives as well. So interestingly, 56% of respondents expect their lawyers to be available during evenings and weekends. So what does this tell us about client expectations in terms of accessibility?
Well, in terms of expecting your lawyer to be available on evenings and weekends, can we just take a second, please? Yeah. I think that 56% of clients expect their lawyer to be available at these times because of their own busy work schedules. But let's be real, lawyers also deserve a good work-life balance too. Absolutely. And if they're always on call, the quality of their work will suffer. And it's crucial to manage these expectations right from the start of the matter, because it's completely unreasonable to expect your lawyer to be available 24/7. I mean, come on. Yeah. So it would be beneficial at the start of a matter to tell the clients when you're available, when you're not available, but also have mechanisms in place where they're able to check updates on their matter, whether that be a portal, an email, or having a really good team to communicate where they're up to, so that they don't have these unrealistic expectations that their lawyer is going to be constantly available.
Yeah, I think it's unreasonable to expect somebody to be available almost 24/7. It's, there needs to be boundaries set, right at the start, as you say. So what did clients say about giving feedback to their law firms? Were you asked to provide feedback?
So when we asked clients about giving feedback, it was really surprising to see that only 49%, so less than half of clients, were definitely asked for feedback. 21% can actually remember if they've been asked at all. But this highlights a missed opportunity for firms to engage with their clients, not just after the matter, but also during, to better understand how their experience is going or indeed has gone. And feedback methods varied. So online surveys were the most common, but we also saw that email and paper forms are being used. I think online surveys are really great because they're quick, they're cost effective, and all of your data is in the same place. So as a marketer, I mean, it's a given that for us, it makes our lives much easier to be able to filter through responses that way. But clients can experience something which Anna calls in the document survey fatigue. So they get bombarded with feedback requests, and sometimes, therefore, these requests just get ignored or forgotten about in email inboxes. So one way of caveating that, I think, would be to include the feedback straight after the matter or during, not weeks or months after, but while you're still fresh in their minds. And one thing that stood out to us was the continued use of paper forms. It's not something you see very often. And while, I say young, we're all relatively young, but for older clients who aren't particularly tech savvy, it's really important that firms still offer this option because it doesn't alienate their older clients who may find using digital or online tools daunting. And therefore, they're not left out of the feedback process. So we're getting feedback from all different demographics, which is really important. But ultimately, firms really need to consistently seek client feedback. It's not about just gathering data, like I've mentioned. It's about having an open ear and channel for communication, which can drive genuine improvements and improve the reputation of your firm.
That's really interesting about the paper forms. But like you say, it's important to make sure that you're being accessible to all people from all walks of life and ages, etc. So that's really interesting. And I think if you can make it as easy as possible for people in terms of the online form and do it, as you say, fresh in the mind after the matters are ended, then you're going to likely get more people to fill that in and give you good feedback that you can then take away and actually make some changes within the firm. So that's really interesting. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Sophia. It was really insightful. I'm really looking forward to hearing what our listeners think. And if we need to get in touch with you, Sophia, how can we do that?
Yeah, no problem. If you want to get in touch with me, you can email me at sophia@conscious.co.uk or via LinkedIn, and my full name is Sophia Stancer, and I would be more than happy to talk with you in further detail about the report or anything else Law Firm Marketing Club related.
Great. Thank you so much, Sophia.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for listening to this episode of the Conscious Pod. I personally found the findings of the latest What Clients Want research fascinating and a real rare insight into the minds of law firm clients. The full report is available to view now, which you can download from the Law Firm Marketing Club website, or alternatively you can contact Sophia Stancer on LinkedIn, who will be happy to discuss the findings with you. If you like this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe and share wherever you get your podcasts.